His neighbor can't finish the curtain. Let's see what he has to say. What's he got for us this time? They're probably Blu-rays. Aficionados Chris. It's a guilty pleasure. Aficionados Chris. It's a compound measure. Aficionados shine the lights, shoot the camera, smile for the world in panorama. He likes to impersonate Walk-On.
Hey everybody, Aficionados Chris here, and today I could not be more excited to be talking about some really awesome Blu-rays. A lot of you probably figured out I am a huge Godzilla fan, have been since childhood, and I'm really excited to see the brand new movie that's coming out May 16th. And because of this new movie, a lot of studios who either already owned Godzilla movies or just recently acquired Godzilla movies to be released are putting them out on Blu-ray to get everyone excited for the new movie and of course bank off of the hype for this movie. Sony's doing a couple Blu-rays May 6th, 4 double feature Blu-rays, which I hope to review later on. Section 23's new company, Kraken Releasing, has released not one, but 3 new Godzilla movies on Blu-ray to be released May 6th as well. And the movies that we're going to discuss are Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster, aka Godzilla vs. Hedorah, Godzilla on Monster Island, aka Godzilla vs. Gigan, and finally Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, aka Hedorah, Horror of the Deep. This is the era where Godzilla movies were starting to get a little more campy, a little more low budget, and a little more kiddie, but they're still so enjoyable in their own merit. I have such nostalgia for these movies, and I've really loved watching these all over again, and in high definition no less. And let me tell you, speaking of high definition, these Blu-rays, all 3 of them together, look beautiful. I have never seen Godzilla movies look quite this good before. Now all these were shot on very low budget stock, so there's tons and tons of grain, but that's the way it should look and that's the way it's preserved. It just looks absolutely delicious, all the grain and all the bad lighting that these movies have. These movies are so high def, you can actually see the strings on a lot of these creatures when they're flying, or the strings on Godzilla's tail when they need it to move. To me, that's a true restoration where you can see all the faults that these low-budget movies have. Now, of course, the big thing you probably want to know about these movies is what do these Blu-rays have that make them worth the price? Well, the big thing is that not only do these movies have great Blu-ray transfers, great audio quality, and in my opinion, some really cool cover art. In fact, they actually remind me a lot of the Toho Masters collection that Classic Media did a very long time ago. I used to have those DVDs, but I've since sold them because apparently they're being re-released on Blu-ray. And the coolest thing about these Blu-rays is that each one comes with 2 audio tracks, an English audio and the original Japanese for all 3 movies. They're both in 2.0 stereos, but they do sound very good. And I've actually never heard these in Japanese because when I used to watch these, they were of course in English. I had them on VHS. So it was really great to kind of sample the Japanese audio for the first time. But for me personally, I prefer the English audio because it's what I grew up with, and for me it's where I get all my nostalgia and all the laughs for how silly and campy the dubs are and how poorly acted they are. Now there's no bonus features unless you count the original Japanese trailers for these movies, but for what you're getting, 13 bucks a piece, great video quality, 2 audio tracks, and in my opinion, really good cover art. These are just a must-have for all Godzilla fans, all 3 of them really. I mean, they're all not the best Godzilla movies, but for all die-hard Godzilla fans, much like myself, they're must-haves, and I'm glad to have them, and I'm really surprised that Kraken Releasing has done such a good job. In fact, I really hope that Kraken Releasing does more Godzilla Blu-rays, because just from these first 3, they've done a fantastic job, and I hope that they start releasing more Godzilla movies because there are quite a few that still are not on Blu-ray and they haven't been announced for any Blu-rays yet. So hey, Kraken, you're doing such a good job. Please, please get more Godzilla movies, and you know, for all Godzilla fans, support these releases because if they sell well, we may see other Godzilla Blu-rays in the future. Maybe not in May when the new movie comes out, but hey, maybe a little later on. The next 2 are some very generous donations by a very good friend of mine here on YouTube. His name is Tyler Preston, aka TP20. You can check him out here. Just click that link in the description. He's really awesome. He's an enormous Godzilla fan, much like myself. In fact, we've bonded simply because of that. I've taught him a couple things. He's taught me a couple things. So it's a great little relationship. He was kind enough to give me not 1 but 2 Kaiju Blu-rays, and one of which is quite possibly the most iconic Godzilla Rumble ever, and another one is its lackluster sequel. And these are of course King Kong vs. Godzilla and King Kong Escapes. Now first let's talk about King Kong vs. Godzilla, because as a kid this was one of the 2 Godzilla movies I watched the most. Destroy All Monsters and King Kong vs. Godzilla for the exact same reasons. Just the idea that both these movies have, with Destroy All Monsters being all of the Godzilla monsters put together in one massive rumble. And in this case, you've got two of the most iconic movie monsters duking it out. You got Godzilla and King Kong facing each other head to head. What child, especially a monster fan child, wouldn't want to see that? And who wouldn't watch that over and over and over again? And even today, I still love this movie. I mean, it's corny, of course. It's got so many stupid things about it, but really, pretty much all Godzilla movies are, with the exception of the 54 film and the Heisei series and Millennium series. Most of the Godzilla movies from this era were completely goofy, had very low budgets, but they were so much fun. You know, kids like me loved them. I still love them as an adult. And even today I watch this and so many nostalgic memories come to mind. Just the idea that Godzilla could fight King Kong, you know, East versus West, as many people have put it. And this is a pretty good release. It's not the best, I'd say. There's absolutely no bonus features. And the biggest disappointment for a lot of die-hard Godzilla fans is that this is an English-only release. So there's no Japanese audio, so the original Japanese version is not included. It's very disappointing. I understand a lot of people's frustrations, but for me personally, it's not a big problem because I did not grow up with the Japanese version. I mean, how could I? I'm American. So the English dub is perfectly acceptable for me because, again, it's what I grew up with, it's what I'm familiar with. For that alone, it's worth picking up. But again, if you're a completionist and you want the original Japanese version, it's a slightly disappointing release. And again, there's no bonus features. There's not even a menu on this Blu-ray. The movie just starts. But the picture and audio quality is very, very good. Next, we're going to talk about its lackluster sequel, King Kong Escapes. Now, a little trivia. The dub for this film was actually done by Rankin Bass. If that name sounds familiar, they're the people behind Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and The Year Without a Santa Claus. Yeah, the guys who made that dubbed this movie. I don't even know how to express that. That's just the most bizarre thing. And it really shows because this movie, dub or otherwise, is not very good, but it's still kind of this laughably bad film. It's right up there with movies like The Room or Troll 2 where it's so bad it's good. And you know, many kaiju movies do have that sort of level of quality, but I think the difference is that they all have the one merit that makes them enjoyable overall, and that's Godzilla. And in this case, you don't have Godzilla, you have Japan's version of King Kong. And you even have this character Mechanicon, who's basically a poor excuse for a villain because he's basically just Mecha Godzilla but King Kong. So it's kind of stupid. The only Godzilla character that even appears in this movie is Gorosaurus, and he's killed within like the first few minutes of his introduction. Very similar to how King Kong handles T-Rexes and other dinosaurs in all his various film appearances. But it's still a really fun movie. I have tons of nostalgia for it. I remember watching this quite a few times. Not as much as King Kong vs. Godzilla, absolutely, because, I mean, how do you follow up that with this? You don't. But it's still fun. I'd say it's only for completionists or crazy die-hard fans like me to have. It's not a necessity. It's still a decent transfer. I mean, it's really good, but it's still not a great film, and I can't really say it's worth its price. But again, only for people that are die-hard fans and just want to own all things kaiju, all things Toho, just all things giant monster. It's worth owning, but I'd say wait till the price comes down a bit because it's still just a lackluster sequel to an incredible monster mash. So that was my review of not one, but 5 Toho monster movies. We got Kraken Releasing's Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster, Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, and Godzilla on Monster Island. And we have from Universal Pictures, King Kong vs. Godzilla, and King Kong Escapes. I cannot recommend these enough to all kaiju fans, Godzilla fans, monster fans, just all those types of movie monster fans. These are must-haves. I'd still say for King Kong Escapes, wait till the price comes down a bit because it's not that great a movie. But for these, 13 bucks a pop, stellar HD transfers, both English and Japanese audio. These are must pickups immediately. These come out May 6th, and these two are available right now, so definitely pick them up. That's really all I have to say. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please have a wonderful day. Goodbye. Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, definitely hit that subscribe button. Also, if you want to keep up to date with all my video projects, you can like my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/aficionadoschris. You can follow me on Twitter, which is @aficionadochris, and support me on Patreon by clicking this link right here. Thank you for watching, and be sure to also check out my 2 previous videos.